Hello Year 6, welcome to your Monday maths video. I hope you've all had a lovely half term. So today I've got a nice fun starter to get us back into it before we get started on our maths work for today. We're moving on now to looking at coordinates, okay? So we've already done a little bit of coordinate work in the last few weeks in our workout book, but now we're looking more at the reasoning side of coordinates. Because I know you can all plot basic points on a graph. Okay, so remember, we use coordinates to show the position of a point on a grid, and coordinates are often used on maps or graphs. Okay, so I've got a game for you to play first, and I will send out the link for the game on the Marvellous Me message with your video link for today. Okay, so when you press the link, it will come up like this, and it's called Show the Coordinate. Okay, let's have a look. When you get onto this screen, I'd like you to choose the one with a cross. Okay, you can have a go at the other ones if you want to as a bit of a practice, but for your main activity, I'd like you to pick the one with the cross because we are looking at coordinates in 4 quadrants today. Okay, so that's when your graph is split. You've got 2 axes and it's split into 4 sections. Okay, so the aim of the game then, you are given a coordinate at the top and you've got to plot it. But as soon as you plot that first one, the time will start ticking down. Okay, so you've got to race against the clock. So you've got to read your coordinate really, really carefully. Remember, we go along the corridor and then up the stairs, or we go along the corridor and then down the stairs if it's a minus number. Okay, and what will happen when you pick your coordinate? If you get it right, you'll get a star. Okay, these stars will all build up, and you see how many stars you can get before the time runs out. Okay, so let's do a couple together. So the first one then is -2, 2. So I go along my corridor to -2 and then up to 2, and then just press the point where you want it to be. Okay, so the first one, the next one is -1, 4. So along to -1. Oh, I ran out of time because I was trying to explain it. Hang on, let's have another go. So 3 - 5 would be down here. Okay, -5 then, along to -5 and up to 3 would be up there. -1, 0 then would be there. -2, 4 would be up there. 0 is in the middle, so then up to 3. 3 along here and up to 5. Okay, -2, -3 would be down here. Okay, -3, go along, go up to 4. Okay, so you keep going. I've already got this many stars. Let's see how many stars you can get before the time runs out. It gets quicker and quicker, so it gets more challenging. Okay, so don't forget to take a quick photo when you finished, and then I can see how many stars you managed to get. Okay, so let's have a look then at your work for today. So we're still in our Year 6 stretch maths book. Oh, sorry, that way. Our Year 6 stretch book, and we're moving on to pages 66 and 67 today. Your learning question is, can I use coordinates in 4 quadrants accurately? Okay, so the key word in that learning question is accurately. Okay, you've got to be really, really accurate with coordinates. You can't just have a guess or get as close as you can. You've got to try and get it bang on so that your coordinates are correct. Okay, so just before we go into the work in our book, I just want to go over a few things with you. Okay, let's have a look at this. So you're going to, all of your coordinates and your graphs today have got 4 quadrants like this. Okay, so you've got an X and a Y axis, and then you've got 4 sections. Okay, now this section is nice and easy because there's no minus numbers involved. Okay, so if there's no minus numbers involved, say for example, you wanted to plot the coordinate 3, 4. Okay, so you'd go along the corridor to 3 and then you'd go up to 4. Okay, got to make sure you go in the right order though, because 4, 3 would be in a different place. Okay, So 3, 4, you'd go along to 3 and up to 4. 4, 3, you'd go along to 4 and up to 3. Okay, so just be careful with the order of your coordinates. Okay, if you're in this quadrant then, you would go along the corridor here and up the stairs. So for example, if I wanted to do -5, 3, I'd go along to -5 and then up to 3. Okay, and just be careful again with your order, because 3 minus 5 would be down here. So it'd be in a completely different quadrant, it'd be in a completely different place. That's why you've got to be really nice and accurate. Yeah, so -5, 3. If you're in this quadrant then, the bottom left quadrant, both of your points of your coordinates, so both sides of your coordinate are going to be minus numbers, because you've got minus here and you've got minus here. Okay, so for example, if I wanted to do -2, -2, I'd go along to -2 and down to -2. Yeah, if I wanted to do -4, -1, I'd go, let's move that, -4, -1. Yeah, and it must line up with the correct points. Okay, this quadrant then, you're going to have a positive number first and then a negative number. Okay, so for example, if I wanted to do 4 minus 3, I'd go along to 4 and down to -3. Yeah? So along to 4, down to -3 for that one. Okay, if you've got one involving a 0 though, they're sometimes thrown in just to try and confuse you, but don't let it. So for example, if I wanted to do the coordinate 2, 0, I'd go along to 2 still, but then I just wouldn't move it up, because 0 is this line. Yeah? So just be careful with 0. Sometimes it can be put in to confuse you. So if you wanted to do -3, 0, you'd still go along to -3, but you just wouldn't move it up. 0, 0 is just bang in the middle. It's where both zeros meet. Okay? So some tips then to help you with your work for today. Always, always, always go along the corridor and then up the stairs, or along the corridor and down the stairs. Okay? And just take care with your coordinates and the order that you write them in. Okay? Right, let's have a look at your work for today then. So turn to page 66. Your first question says, look at the grid below. What kind of triangle is formed by joining up points to make the word gem? So you've got to join up G, E and M. So if you do that, so G's here, join it up to E, join it up to M, and then join M up to G, it will form a triangle. Okay? But we want to know what kind of triangle is formed. Okay? You might already know straight away when you've drawn it, and that'll be great. But if you don't, then these are the ones that you can choose from. Okay? So, is it an equilateral triangle where all of the sides are the same length? Is it a right angle triangle where you have got a right angle somewhere? Is it an isosceles triangle where two sides are equal? Or is it a scalene triangle where all of the sides are different lengths? Okay, so you choose one of those and answer that question. The next part of this question then says a kite is formed by joining points Q, N, S and which other letter? Now remember, a kite looks a little bit like this. Okay, so that's a kite. So if you join up Q, N and S, so there's Q and N, there's N and S, you need to figure out which other point, there's only one option, you need to figure out which other point you could join up those lines to make a kite. Okay, so it's a kite on its side, isn't it? So if you turn and look that way, you will be able to see. And whichever letter you choose, join it up and check that it looks right. Okay, if it doesn't look like a kite, then you've probably gone slightly wrong. So join it up and check that it looks correct. Okay, so you have a go at that one. The next one then says 2 corners of an isosceles triangle are at O and W. Write down all the possible letters for the last corner of the triangle. This, I've highlighted, is your key word, okay, because there isn't only one answer. There is multiple options, so you've got to make sure you get all of them. So join up the letters that you've been given. So you've been given O and W, which is here, okay, and remember, an isosceles triangle is a triangle with 2 equal sides. So this side and this side are equal in my triangle. They are the exact same length. This one isn't the same length, but that's fine. It's only got to have 2 equal sides, okay? So whichever one you choose, remember, you can draw on this grid, join it up, see which way, make sure it's a triangle for one, make sure it's an isosceles triangle, and make sure you've checked all options. You should have more than one answer in that box. Okay. The last one on this question then says D, L, J and B form a rectangle. What are the coordinates of the point where the diagonals cross? Okay. So what this means then, so first of all, you're going to have to find out, join it all up on your grid. So join up D, L, J and B, and it will make a rectangle. Okay, and then what you need to do is you need to join up this one with this one, and you need to join up this one and this one. And then the question wants to know what this coordinate is, right in the centre. So where those diagonals cross in your rectangle. Okay, so you need to remember to go along the corridor and up or down the stairs to read what coordinate that is in the centre of your rectangle. Okay. Question 2 then says Craig has drawn 3 corners of a parallelogram on a grid. He says that there are 2 points on the grid where he could draw the 4th corner. What are the 2 points? Now, what I would do first is join up the points that you've been given. So join up that one and that one. Join up that one. Okay. Where could the 4th point be in that parallelogram? Now, remember, a parallelogram can look like this or this. Okay. So if it's going to look like this, then you know you need a point down here. Okay. You know you're going to need a point around here somewhere. But you need to make sure you count carefully where it would be. So you're going to have to count how many squares there are up here, and then count along how many you would need and find where it would be. So it's equal. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a parallelogram, would it? Because remember, a parallelogram has got 2 pairs of parallel lines. So this line has got to be parallel with this one. Remember, that means that they would never, ever, if they carried on going and going and going, they would never meet. Okay, so for example, if I put the point here, I just guessed, just have a guess, pop it there. Okay, and then I join it up. Those lines are going to meet, aren't they? They're not parallel. Okay, so you've got to be really, really careful and count across carefully how long it is at the top, and it's got to be the same length at the bottom. Okay, so that would be one of your answers, but we want what are the 2 points. Okay, so your parallelogram could go this way, couldn't it? Okay, so you join up this one and this one, this one and this one, and then you give this point in the bottom right corner. Okay, so if I was you, if you're drawing on here, I'd draw in pencil for your first point, rub it out, have a go and do your second one. Okay. So on your next page then, question 3, it says plot and join up the points 1, 5, 4, 4, 1, -3 and -2, 4. Okay, so this is key. got to remember to go along the corridor first and then up the stairs, okay? Or along the corridor and then down the stairs if you've got a minus number in your coordinate, okay? And you've got a blank grid like this to put your coordinates on. So remember, if you have a coordinate that is something similar to 2 minus 4, it would go down here. Okay, so remember we go along to 2 and down to minus 4. If you've got one that's like 3, 2, you'd go along to 3 and up to 2. They are both positive numbers, so it's going to be up in that corner. If you've got one that starts with a minus number and then a positive, like minus 6, 4, go along to minus 6 and up to 4. Okay, and then if you've got 2 minus numbers in your coordinate, it would be in this quadrant. So for example, minus 5, minus 4, we'd go along to minus 5 and down to minus 4. Okay, so you should be able to apply that to plotting your points on your graph in question 3. Okay, so once you've plotted your 4 points, use a ruler to join them up and they should make a shape. Okay, if it's not a shape that you recognise, then you might have gone slightly wrong somewhere. So go back and have another look and then write the name of your shape. Okay, and you should know what shape it is because we've already discussed it on the previous page. Then it says, what are the coordinates of the point where the diagonals of this shape cross? Okay, so your shape should look something a little bit like this. Okay, so if it doesn't, then you need to go back and have another look. Okay, so very similar to how we did our rectangle and we cross the diagonals, you've just got to join up the points of this shape. So you've got to join up that one and that one, that one and that one. Okay, and where these cross in the center of your shape, that's the coordinate that you need to give. Okay, on your challenge question then, on the bottom of page 67, it says draw a grid where both the axes go from -5 to 5. So you can really only do this if you've got some grid paper, like we have in our maths books. So if you've got one of those, then that's great. If not, if you've got a printer, you could print off some grid paper, or you can email me and I can always send you some over. Okay? So it says draw a grid where both the axes go from -5 to 5. So you've got to draw a 4-quadrant grid going from -5 to 5. On your grid, draw a square with corners at 1, 1, 3, 1, 3, 3 and 1, 3. So plot all of those points. Where do the diagonals of the square cross? So just like we did with our rectangle, join up the corners of your square and see where the diagonals are. Where will the diagonals of the square with corners at 0, 0, 4, 0, 4, 4 and 0, 4 cross? So draw another square using those points. Draw your diagonals and see where that point is. Do the next one. And then it says, what do you notice about the coordinates of the points where the diagonals cross for these squares? Can you find a pattern? So for this one, it's asking you then to use your mathematical knowledge to have a look and see if you can spot the pattern. How many different squares can you draw where diagonals cross at 0, 0? So remember, 0, 0 is that point right in the centre of your graph. Okay? So good luck with all of your maths work for today. I look forward to seeing photos of your work later on, and I will see you all tomorrow.